Good morning, welcome to Morning Coffee with AP, and today your guys' question was, what are the best workout splits? Stay tuned. What's up guys, welcome back to another episode of Morning Coffee with AP. Just like every morning, got the man mug. I'm going to say it every single time, the intro. I got the man mug. If I don't have the man mug, I can't do Morning Coffee with AP. So we're sipping on some coffee, getting some caffeine going, and if you're new to the channel, welcome. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. There's content like this coming out every single morning to help you with your fitness and weight loss goals. And today's question was asked, what are the best workout splits? So that's a great question because everybody now is wondering, is push-pull legs, is upper-lower, is bro splits of one muscle group each day, how much volume, this and that and the other thing. There's so many things out there now, right? If you type in YouTube, best workout splits, there's a million different videos. And so what I'm going to suggest to you is my opinion, and it all stems back to it depends. So it depends on what your goals are, right? And so I'll go into a couple different avenues, okay? First off, what is your experience level? Are you a new lifter? Are you intermediate, advanced? What kind of lifter are you, okay? The second thing is, what are your goals? Are you looking to build muscle? Are you looking to gain strength? Are you looking to gain endurance? So what are your goals? So I would there's going to be a lot of people watching this video that have different goals, and they're different, they're male or female, they're different training experiences, and that's fine. So I'm going to go into kind of like a general guideline of how to kind of go that avenue. So if you are more of a beginning lifter, you're going to respond very well to any sort of weight training, whatever it is, because you haven't had that stimulus before of whether it's hypertrophy or strength, endurance, all that kind of stuff. And so whatever avenue you go, there's kind of there's a chart that I wish I had, but you're going to start increasing strength and muscle mass at the same time, if not and endurance, by just doing some weight training. And then there'll be a point in time where you start plateauing, and then you have to start adjusting things. But for beginning lifters, what I like to do is, because you react so well to any stimulus, I like to start at the least amount of volume possible, meaning the least amount of workouts a week possible. And this means maybe only starting with 2, if not 3 days a week, and maybe just doing 4 total exercises with 4 sets each. So maybe like anywhere from, around 16 total sets for those 3 days a week. And so why I do that is because why would you want to do 6 days a week for 2 hours a day and get the same exact results if you're only going 3 days a week and only being there for 45 minutes? Because there's going to be a point in time when we plateau and we're going to not keep gaining strength, and also we're not going to keep gaining muscle mass as fast. And then that's when we need to adjust and maybe put in more volume, more training, stuff like that. As well as a huge component that I want to mention is the training split. By far, any training split should be based around your recovery, okay? Because we're not building muscle in the gym, we're tearing it down. We're building muscle when we're recovering, sleeping, resting, all that, eating, sleeping, we're recovering when we're sleeping, but we need the nutrition to actually fuel building the muscle, right? And so that is the main component, is the recovery. So a new beginner lifter, say if you start lifting, you're going to be sore. And so you need to be able to recover from that soreness and then keep training. And then as time goes on, you won't be as sore. So then maybe you can increase the volume, which then you can train more times in the gym and keep that progression going. So maybe a best split for a beginning lifter is a push-pull legs, or maybe like an upper, lower, and then a full body. So like 3 days a week, so an upper, lower, full body, or maybe just a full body 3 times a week. Those are all great strategies for a beginning lifter, and starting at 3 to 4 total exercises and doing 4 sets of each. So 12, 16 total sets during that exercise. And then starting with more of the basics, the bread and butter. A lot of people start just doing a bunch of crazy lifts, but starting the bread and butter, the bench, the squat, and the deadlift, and if you have troubles with your flexibility, getting on like a hack squat machine, or you're doing variations of the deadlift, or you're doing dumbbells for the pressing. But essentially, you need to be doing pressing movements, pulling movements, and then leg movements, whether that's curling or pushing. And that's how our body just works. And so there's no crazy science like crazy voodoo. We need to be doing crazy stuff. That's just how our body works. It can only work so many ways. You can just adjust the planes, but you don't need to start worrying about that until you get a little more advanced. With that, if you're more towards hypertrophy, then you're going to be in a little bit of a higher rep range. And hypertrophy just means gaining muscle mass. And so what that means is, doing something like 6 to 12 reps, somewhere in there, in that rep range might help you better with growing muscle mass. You're going to gain strength too, but that's going to focus more on muscle mass. If you're trying to gain strength, maybe dropping it down, working on power and strength, and doing a 3 to 6 rep range, right? And splitting it up in between. And if you want to gain more strength and build some muscle mass, I love starting out with people a 5x5 split, meaning 5 total exercises, doing 5 total sets at 5 total reps. So you're doing a bench press, you're doing 5 total sets of the bench press at 5 reps each, and increasing the load. Where when you're a beginning lifter, I would not go to failure. I would go till you have about 2 left in the tank, just to start getting your body used to the movement. And when I see people going to failure, what happens is they don't keep their form in check, because your body doesn't know how to fire the muscles totally yet. And so then what happens is maybe when you're benching, you protract forward and you start using your front delt, and then you might hurt your shoulder when you're trying to build your chest. And you don't want to do that, because then it puts us out of the gym. And so you want to develop good habits and good what are called motor engrams. So I just correlate those habits to those motor neurons firing and stuff like that for good form, and so you can actually activate the muscle properly. So I know I'm going a lot in depth here, but that's more of a beginning lifter. If you're doing more of like endurance style training, you might want to raise the rep range up to a 15 rep range, and shorter rest time, so it keeps your heart rate elevated and you're working on more muscle endurance. You're not necessarily worried about the strength. So that's kind of in that area. As we get into intermediate and advanced lifting, then we can start implementing, if we're training 5. If you are training 6 days a week, if you can recover properly from that, that's fine. But 5 days a week is totally enough. And then allocating the time of, if you need to do, you say 20 total sets, is figuring out what your rest time is. And so you're there at the gym for an hour, maybe an hour 15. And then sometimes when you get to an advanced level, there's people having to do 25 to 30 total sets in a day, and they're there for an hour and a half to sometimes hour 45. And so those are the people, though, like in the gym there for a purpose. It's not like talking. If you're talking and you're there for 2 hours, you didn't lift for 2 hours. So you've really got to understand that. So I would go by total sets and reps and the total volume and stuff that you did during that day, the rest time. But yeah, if you get to that level, going back to recovery, then you need to diagnose of like what are your goals, and then what can you recover from. So I see that it just depends on the person. There's no one size fits all, and so I will change it up, because doing more of like an upper lower rest, and then an upper lower and then another whatever day, that works great. I see that increasing the frequency might help a little bit with the recovery, and frequency just means how many times you hit it a week. So if you do, an upper lower and then a rest and then an upper lower and then something else, you'd be hitting legs, twice, maybe 3 times a week, but you're spreading out the total sets. So instead of doing 20 total sets in a day of legs, now you're doing maybe 10 sets twice a week. So the total in the week is the same. You're just splitting it up. And so sometimes I see that works better for recovery, sometimes it doesn't. That has something that you have to test out. As well as if you do a push-pull legs rest, push-pull legs rest, that works phenomenal. I really like that split too. And that kind of splits it up. So you are essentially trying to hit a muscle group twice a week, but you're spreading out the volume there. People still do bro splits, and what that means is just hitting one muscle group 5-6 days a week, and that works for a lot of people. But the training stimulus stimulating the muscle is going to be like a little more dragging out or drug out, whatever the terminology is there. It's going to be a longer time in between the days that you hit it, but you might need that recovery. So if you're a person that needs more recovery and a longer rest time between the days that you hit that, back or whatever, then you might need to be doing just one muscle group a day and waiting the 5-6 days until you hit it again, right? So it all depends. But at the end of the day, we start at, what are our goals, what's our training experience, and then going towards what's the best strategy to recover the best. Because if you're not recovering fully, you're not going to optimize the muscle growth. So that's my thoughts on that. Hopefully it was helpful. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to share it to your people, that somebody needs help with this, I would really appreciate it if you share it. Comment below any more questions that you have, because I would love to put it on the show or on the morning coffee with AP. But other than that, guys, thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you tomorrow morning.